this video, I want to deal with the installation of a single full wet room tray. Now these are becoming very popular because what the customer wants to see is that single full of tiles towards a linear drain. Now with this former, which has been specially designed to do this job, it gives you that single full here. But the problem that I've seen before with this kind of job is that people try to make these up out of plywood, and the real issue is where you've got the deepest part of the tray meeting the horizontal bit of the tiles here, and in that corner you often get leaks because what people try and do is they try and bodge it up with a bit of silicone or whatever. Now because this has been specifically designed for this job and it's got a pre-sealed corner here, so there's no chance of any leaks. And also they've also included a special tapered insert here which matches either a grey or a beige tile. Now that goes in there to cover that strip, and again I've seen that done with grout or with silicone. It just looks a complete mess. So this is a purpose-made system. It will not leak. It's absolutely 100% waterproof when it's in there, and all those tiles will fall towards that drain without any kind of horizontal surface at the back of them. And that is the solution that a lot of people are looking for. So that's the basic idea. Now I'm going to show you what's involved in fitting it. So here we've got the floor cut out ready to take the former, and I've got to put some support in between these joists which is flush with the top of these joists. Well, that's the easy part. Now a lot of the time you'll find that the joists are in the way of your trap, and you can see with this trap that it's got these different directions so that you can spin the thing around basically and run it either left or right or straight out through the wall or even down through the floor. And that trap fits nicely onto the back of the pre-sealed linear drain, and that is all tanked in there, so there's no chance of any leaks there. And you can see that we can just turn this round, and with the fittings that are supplied in the box, you're going to be able to get yourself out whichever way you want to. Now in this particular installation I've got a soil pipe outside through the wall there, and I'm going to run my trap and my waste pipe straight out that way through the wall. So that would mean that basically I'll be installing this trap that way. But I need to put a bit of support in to make sure that this is fully supported around the edge. There's no chance of any weight being put on that side of the trap, the wall side of the trap, because that comes right up against the wall. But basically here, across here and across the other end need to be supported as well as the rest of it. So I'm going to do a little bit of carpentry. It's not my chosen trade, but I'm sure that I can manage it in this case. Okay, so I've been having some fun here with the carpentry. It's not my chosen profession. I am a plumber, as I say, but it's been good actually. I've enjoyed it. And the important thing is it might not be the prettiest job in the world, but it's very strong. I've made sure that I've put plenty of support in there for that tray. So I'm happy with that. And I've got to say that actually we did have the hardest scenario, the worst case scenario if you like here, which is basically that we had to go out through an awkward way, but I've done it. Now, in many cases, the joists will run the right way for you, and you can just go straight out through the wall if it's a masonry wall or even if it's a timber frame building. And that trap will just allow you to go straight through the wall without any difficulty at all. The way I've done it, a little bit more involved, a little bit more trimming to be done, but as I say, I've done the job. I know it's secure, I know it's well supported, and now I can get back to the plumbing. When you're forming this subfloor, you need to make sure that the plywood infills are exactly the same level as the top of the joists. That way, you'll make sure that you get a complete, even support for the former. So that's the board securely fixed into place, but before I do anything else, I really want to just give this a trial fit, make sure everything's in place. Yep. That looks good. I can get that trap into place there, but before I do that, I've got to lift this up again and prime those boards and then put down some adhesive to bed this on. Okay, so that's nicely bedded on the KST adhesive. Now I'm just going to double check that it's level. Yep, that's fine. And now I've done that, I can secure this trap with the stainless steel screws that are provided in the pack. But when you do this, it's important not to over tighten them, and I use a little Torx screwdriver. I've got that set to 1 Newton meter, which is not very much at all, but all we're trying to do is make sure it's sitting nicely under that seal, that rubber seal. That's it. Okay, so what I've done there is to drill a couple of holes to line up with my studs. Although there are 2 holes already in there, they don't line up with these timber studs. And that just gives that back a bit of support. Actually, with that MD adhesive that I've run along the back as well, that will support it and seal it. But really, we've got no weight on this back edge as such because it's against the wall and the tiles are coming over it. Nobody's ever going to stand on that bit, but we do like to stop it from moving around. But the real support is at the front of that linear drain. So I have actually checked this waste pipe for water tightness already. I always like to bung up the end and check that, but now I've put the trap into place, I'm going to check it once more. I'm just going to fill it up and make sure the water doesn't go anywhere. Quite honestly, with Solvent World, I never really have a problem, but it's always best to check. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to put a bag or 2 of adhesive on there just to keep it down while it sets. Give it a couple of hours. I'll go away, get a bit of lunch, and then come back and start the sealing. So now we're almost ready for the tiler. What I've got to do is seal around here. We've got in the kit some self-adhesive tape. We've got a pre-formed corner to go in the other corner. So I'll seal all the way around this former here. And then of course we're going to do the walls as well. So the whole thing's tanked out and ready, completely watertight, ready for tiling. So when you've fitted this former, you need to bring the rest of the bathroom floor up to the same level. And although some people would do this with ply, a much better surface for tiling onto is this wallboard and floorboard that is sold as a kit by the manufacturer. It's there, complete with all the fixings and everything you need to complete the job. So now we've got this single full tray in position here. It's all bedded down nicely, waterproof, taped up around the sides. Now you'll notice that we've tiled the wall already. You wouldn't necessarily do that on a wet room, do the wall before you did the floor, but in this case you do, because it's important that that tile comes down behind that drain and that there's no horizontal surface behind that drain. And that's why I said earlier that you adjust the drain or bring the wall out slightly to make sure that you eliminate any horizontal surface there. So that's fine. We brought that down behind the tile guide there, and we've put the trim in place, stainless steel tile trim in place, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bed these tiles on adhesive. Now the great thing is that because this is a totally waterproof former with sealed edges all the way round, we don't need to worry about putting any silicone joints in here or anything like that, because if there was a little bit of a leak down in there, if you like, if there was water creeping down by the edge of that drain, all it would do is find its way into the drain and away. So it's a great system. The other thing I'm going to say, I'll just show you now before we do the tiling, is that we've got this special bit of trim cut to side. Now if you look at a lot of wet room formers of this sort, the single full, you'll find that that is always a bit of a bodge there, but in this case we've got a purpose-made solution. And don't forget that the tile trim needs to go around the drain to make a nice neat finish. So now this tray's all tiled and grouted up, you can really see the sense in this detail here, this taper of this lustrolite strip that takes the fall in an almost seamless way, and it really is quite a clever little detail there. And with the glass on top, of course you can't even see it. But I also like these ribbed non-slip tiles that come down, and of course the tile insert in that drain. I think that all in all, this is about the best single full tray that I've ever seen.